everybody, this is your girl Eldridge, and we're back with another special edition of Tea Kettle Talk. We're still here with our brother from another state, and I'm Eldridge, and this is
Ricky
and my sister
D'Artagnan.
And we want you to have a sip and a seat. So in this next edition, we're just gonna pull a few topics from the kettle, and we're gonna see where the topics lead us. It's all on me, y'all, this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would you sacrifice less romance for someone, like less sexual flirting, teasing, and foreplay? Would I sacrifice that to be in a relationship of romance? If you get rid of the sexual flirting, the teasing, and the foreplay, do you even have a romance? That's my question.
And that came from one of our viewers wanted us to talk about, would you stay in a relationship that there is no sexual flirting, like there is no build up to it? It's not that there's no foreplay. It's just that there is none of that.
For me, I guess, and I'll just let Ricky go, but for me, if it was all the time, that's how it was, that would be a problem for me. If there's nothing, it's just dead.
Just dead. Just when y'all have sex, y'all just have sex.
I can't.
There ain't really no build up to it.
It don't have to be
And not even
fireworks
that
all
there's
the time.
it's not that there's no foreplay, but there is no build up to sex. It's like, okay, it's Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock, let's go get this done.
What the hell is Tuesday? Let you wash the dishes.
Just saying. You gotta schedule it. Like, why you looking at me like that? Come on, say something. Look,
Like,
he's like, yeah.
Like trap, I'm all in my feelings.
So when I see this, I'm seeing sexual flirting, teasing, and foreplay. Those are all components of being physical. To me, that's a part of romance.
Okay.
Where's the other part? Where's the mental part of it?
All right, come on, talk to them. Tell them, people.
Where's the mental part of it at? Because the physical part, you can get that from anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you, if you really want some real romance, get into that head. Get into the mind. Make love mentally to a person.
See, listen to ooh.
So tell like this, engage these people and like them so that they can be inspired.
We going to school today, y'all.
See, y'all quit playing.
No, we serious.
So what I'm saying is that it's not all about the pounding and the flirting and everything else. That's just part of it.
Right, the end result.
But if you don't have me mentally, meaning that you're not supporting, you don't have my back, you can't finish my sentence, you can't anticipate a need of mine, then I can get the physical part from right and left hand or whatever. I got. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, you can sacrifice less romance, but what are you trying to gain? Are you trying to gain more mental romance?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to gain more understanding, more love?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it that, hey, I'm just tired?
Right. I think I heard you say something that I think that people really need to tap into, the piece about what I feel like I'm hearing you say is that it's all day way of being that leads up to the end result of the intimacy. Because all of these things are physical and they relate to what we think of the meaning of intimacy. Now, when you talk about romance, I just heard you say that romance is different than intimacy. And I have to agree that one can complement the other. Mm-hmm. I think that in order to have a romance, you do have to have some of these other things, but throughout the day, that conversation of support. There was somewhere that I was looking and it was saying that men need certain things throughout the day in order for them to get in the mood. It's just not all about their physical. So talk to us about those things that men have to have through the day to sort of equal romance and make them want to be intimate with you later on.
It's very simple things. It's a text message. It's a, you make his lunch and you throw a little note in there.
Oh, he made my lunch and he threw a note in there.
See?
It's all reciprocal to me. So the lunches with the notes, what else?
I mean, it's just the little things. It's going back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
It's, making a cup of coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, stroking, hey, babe, it's time to get up. If I had a long night.
Right.
It's those little things that throughout the day, if I'm sitting there working, I'm like, man, what is this woman going to do tonight that's going to just have me blown?
You go looking forward to it.
You're looking forward. You have that anticipation of wanting to get home and be like, man, hey, boss, I got to go. Wife is making spaghetti tonight.
Yes.
Yes. Even though spaghetti can mean anything,
right.
She can be at home laying on the couch with a nice little English in.
Yeah.
Or
wait for her meatballs.
Exactly. She show up to your job in a trench coat and she's like, hey,
let's go to lunch.
Ooh, I got lunch in the car.
Hey, I was in the area and I stopped by and so I see you tonight. Damn straight.
Yeah.
Look girly.
Matter of fact, hey, I'm getting off early. But it goes both ways, ladies.
Yeah.
It really do. It goes both ways. And the thing is that you always have one person doing more.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
But the thing is, it ain't gonna always be 50-50.
Right.
So.
But it should be able to flip flop though. So if I'm off and I'm having a day, you should be able to compliment my day.
But see, that goes through that mental personality thing of knowing that, hey, my babe's having a bad day. Let me figure out how I'm going to do this and get her back on track.
Right.
When she gets home, I need to be prepared to receive her and let her unleash on me, regardless of what type of day I had had.
Okay.
Because you know what? Last night or yesterday or 2 weeks ago, she allowed me to unleash and I felt good and she took that burden from me.
Right.
So now it's my time to take that burden from her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because that's another thing about romance. I like this conversation because we talked about dating and stuff, and one of our people on our team said that she had to have people make love to their minds. So it's interesting to have you come from the perspective to say it's no different from men. And I get, this should enlighten a lot of women out there as to how you can really, or men too, is how you can bring the man home. Because if you're yelling at him and screaming at him, that's why he's going somewhere else. And it's not for that other woman. Trust me, it's not. It's the peace and the solitude.
Is that when the man leaves, when he wakes up in the morning, he's already had the world on his shoulders. Believe it or not, whether that man is working 3 jobs or 1 job, he has the world on his shoulders.
And it don't matter what profession.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because when he leaves that house, he's thinking about 20 other things that he has to accomplish, plus the 20 other things that could possibly go wrong, and the 20 other things that's gonna go wrong.
Right.
So when he gets through doing all of that stuff, he comes back home. The last thing he wants to hear is his wife.
Right.
God dog it, no.
And I think it's really, and I think it's. I'm gonna let you go, but I just want to throw this in here. Is that when we were talking about women and how we have to do this othering when we leave, like I was explaining to them that it was years before I would even wear my own hair color, which this is my hair color. I don't care. I buy it, I wear it. It's mine. Okay. See, I got receipts to show you. But the thing about it is that authenticity of allowed to be yourself. Right. So I think if I understand what you're saying here, like for men, especially for men of color. And I don't say black men because I use men of color because I understand that any man who is not a white man, a German, Caucasian, Russian, whatever these skin colors are that when you accept it for being a white man walking in the room, I realize that there's already a burden on that brother when he walk out the door, whether he's a Hispanic brother, a Hispanic, a Latino brother, whether he's a Haitian, a Bahamian brother, by the fact that he's not part of the majority, that 1%er that has the key to the special executive washroom. And he's still trying to do the same thing that we're doing. So why would I divide my house by treating him any old kind of way and talking? He already got the stuff heaped on him, and when he go out the door,
solitude. Because I don't argue. Like, I will not have an argument. Like, I don't want to raise my voice. We're gonna have a conversation about it. And we're gonna move on. We can have a conversation. I'm gonna go to bed. You can go do whatever the hell you're gonna do. But the argument, I put people out of my house. They will tell you, she will kick you out. Her, you messing with my peace. Like, don't bring all that negative energy over here. Don't bring all that mess into my house. So y'all know how I am. You know my household like that. My children can tell you, they can count on one hand how many times they ever heard me arguing and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. That is not, I grew up listening to it. I grew up in the environment of it. So that's one of the reasons why I will not have it in my household. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not finna sit here and do this yelling back and forth and doing all that. We're not doing that.
And what does that accomplish anyway? Because it defeats what you just talked about. This person came from the world outside that was yelling and screaming at him all day. And where's the solace and the solitude? So instead he go pay that $30 hooker. Because she ain't gonna say nothing.
Or he decided not to come home until late.
Thank you.
He get off at 5, but he home by 11.
Right.
And you wonder what
and it's
the hell
not, exactly. It ain't the fact that he's out there cheating. It's just the fact that he just sitting there like, damn, do I don't want to go home and listen to all of this mess? And I done already had a jacked up day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what the hard thing is that when you have a relationship where you're under the stress, but then your woman is under the stress, I think that the point that you made, Dar, about having to understand that the 80-20 rule is sometimes you got to flex. Sometimes you got to be the 20% bearer of some of that brunt of his frustration, where he's going to be the 80% bearer of the brunt of that frustration you had, and it's reciprocal. And you guys have to manage each other's communication and personality to know when I need to hold back and let him have his say, or when I can dump on him, so to speak.
Right. And so here's the other part about that, and we as people of color, meaning, blacks, when it comes down to going to get help, we would not go get it.
We don't want to be in it.
We don't.
Why do you think that is?
It's a stigmatism.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we wasn't privy to back in our forefathers' days.
Okay.
Back then we were, hey, you bury, you hold up this cross.
Mm-hmm. Carry to the grave.
You carry this cross. We don't do certain things, and counseling was one of them.
And how about don't air your dirty laundry?
And don't be talking about what's going on behind these doors out there with everybody out on the street. Everybody don't need to know what we're doing in this household.
Exactly. And to a certain degree, I would agree with that. But at the same time, that's why they got psychologists. That's why they got psychotherapists. You're supposed to go get that help, and people don't get help.
I think you're right, because the thing about it is that if you think about the tea kettle in and of itself, when the tea kettle is boiling and then it starts whistling to let you know that it is ready, it's at its limits.
Yes.
Right.
And the yelling and screaming to me when people are having a conversation, even the violence, is the tea kettle. It's saying, I'm at my limit. There's nowhere else for anything to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we don't have romance in this house, because we're all on overflow. No one's giving people their space. And we don't see the benefit of going to a third party to get rid of that dirt and all the crap before we bring it in the house.
And going to a third party, I mean, you're not going to get the right therapist right away. It takes, finding a therapist is like dating.
Right.
You got to find that right one, and you're going to go through multiple.
Yeah.
Because there is one therapist that understands and knows and won't get a bull crap.
Mm-hmm. And they can kind of see through your bull crap when you talk to them.
But see, the good thing is the good therapist will sit up here and tell you, hey, if you don't want to put in the work to make your relationship better, don't waste my time. Don't
Right.
waste your time.
Right. Because you're gonna have to put in the work.
Right. I don't want to take your money and you come here every week.
And you gotta have children that want to be here.
Right. You know what I mean? So.
And if I give you homework,
you need to do your
you need to do your homework.
You have to own up to your part of the mess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to do your homework, it will never work.
And that's the whole thing about when you're talking about foregoing romance. You don't have to forego anything.
No.
It's pretty much about a negotiation of, you know, it can be really selfish, and it's a good thing that it's selfish because you have to ask yourself every day, what do I need to help me to be a better person every day? If that means talking to a third person, if that means not talking to my mate because I might say things that can't be taken back,
Mm-hmm.
or to allow my mate that 80% time to vent so that tomorrow I get that opportunity, then why do you think we're not stopping in our space when we feel the need? Why do you think we're just not stopping and doing a self-check, if you will?
Because we just don't do it. It's one of those things of I can do bad all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mentality.
You know, I don't need you.
It's the
When
mentality.
technically you do. Men and women was put on this earth to be together, not to be separate.
Right.
And I'm not knocking, the people who are single.
Right.
But we're put on this earth to have a helpmate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Women have their roles.
Mm-hmm.
Men have their roles. And I truly believe that men are to carry that 80%
Okay.
of the burden. Because our shoulders will...
I was gonna say, he said my shoulders is bigger. And I'm from Chicago, so I'm from the city of big shoulders.
No.
So I got this, y'all.
It is not that. But what I'm saying, so here's the caveat to that. Even though we are built that way to carry the burden of the world, and that is even biblical, but at the same time, when our shoulders get tired and we get weary, we need that helpmate to come and give us that little bit of encouragement.
Mm-hmm. Because that gradually the shoulders go from like this to this to this to this.
Exactly. And see, and again, women don't understand their place in a man's world.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Your place is not behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Your place is not in front of me.
Yep.
Come
on, brother, lean on in. Come on, lean on in.
Your place is right here,
hey.
Side by side.
I know. Lean in, people. I think the sooner... I like this conversation so much because if we have young people listening and we have people of any age who've been in 60-year marriages, they will be able to tell you 60, 70, 40, 30-year marriages, even 10-year marriages, especially for people of color and people in the entertainment industry.
Well,
that it's a stretch just to be in the same room with each other for 10 years, let alone, a relationship. Y'all show up at the Grammys or the Emmys or the Golden Globes and then you go to your separate houses because, things ain't working right. But what I really like about this conversation for any of our younger viewers that are working there, I think that to have from a man's perspective, the key thing that I think is it's not like of women being better or less than men. Mm-hmm. It's being the helpmate, that support person. And I don't mind playing the supporting role because didn't Monique win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in the movie Precious, even though it wasn't a role that I would want to play?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Taraji P. Henson get nominated for being Best Supporting Actress in Benjamin Button? I mean, and those were so being a supporting role is not necessarily the worst thing because there are awards.
It is.
So being the supporting role.
And I'm telling you, if you want your man to just take over the world.
Okay, y'all, listen, lean in, people, and really listen because he's finna tell you the secret.
You want your man to be his best, take over the world, be there for him. That's all you got to do. You be there for him and you support him. You give him compliments. You say, babe, that was a good job. Vice versa for women. But the thing is that for me, to be a black man, is we need to take charge again.
Right.
You know, my sisters, you guys have done excellent being, single parents and everything else. But when you're talking about a household, there is only one head of household.
And it's the women. But that's the mentality.
And that's the mentality.
But that's the mentality
right.
because we graduated from, because we waved that way because of that, because men has stepped back from that role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am one of those women. I mean, thank you. Because I swear I learn on a regular basis being with these ladies. So just to hear that perspective and coming from a different point of view is amazing.
I'm telling you, I mean, for me, if you sit up here and say, if I'm out there cutting the grass and making the grass look all nice and everything else,
Did we
and I make it all look nice, and you can go out there and be like, man, my y'all look nice.
Oh no.
And if you don't sit up here and say, sweetie, good job on that grass. That grass looking nice.
What did I tell y'all
Let me tell you, he will be out there with shears and a magnifying glass and ruler, cutting that grass and make sure that it looks nice because he got a compliment.
Yeah.
A compliment goes so far.
Yep, you can't rule by fear. And that's what they teach in corporate America is that, and this is why I take a lot of things from corporate and I bring them back and share with people is that we should be taking the things that we learn in corporate America and applying them to our relationships because they're not separate. I think about what you just said and it's like when you're at work and you want people to repeat a certain behavior, you praise that. You praise them in public and you scold them in private. And that's what we should be doing in our relationships. I say take it even one step further. We don't scold. We look and catch them doing the things that we want them to duplicate, and that's what gets duplicated. So like you said, when we were talking last week, it was like, ladies, when your man is out there mowing the grass, stand in the doorway in the sexiest negligee you got and just give them compliments. Is that what I hear you saying?
Hey, you come out there and give me a bottle of water.
Oh!
Let me tell you.
You look like a hot baby.
Exactly. And that's the thing. If you in an air-conditioned house and your man is outside working, it doesn't hurt you to bring him, if he drinks beer and he out there working, bring him a beer. If he out there, if he drinks water, bring him a water. He's out there working. Not the fact that it's his duty to do it, but you want him to continue doing it and feel appreciative of what he's doing. And the same thing for the man. If you are not a cook and your wife is in that kitchen slamming, man, you go in there, you smell them pots, you say, babe, can I taste something? And if she say, no, get on out of here, man, spank her on that
and stick you a little piece out and go ahead and
exactly.
You good.
You sit up there and you tell her, hey, you cooking up a song here now. Now you go ahead and cook now because I'm gonna cook later. It's that compliment, people. You gotta compliment each other on the good stuff.
I